All right, YouTube, Sinister Ruler here, and today I'm going to be going over these two or three specific changes that I want for Li Mei now that a lot's changed, the meta's changed a lot. She's gotten some buffs herself. She's gotten some pretty subpar buffs, some pretty decent buffs, but these are the things I think would make her viable competitively. So, first things first, I want the second hit of back to one to be its own normal. So you might notice this actually goes pretty far. Like, this is a disjointed normal. She doesn't have a whole lot of disjointed normals. In fact, she doesn't have any except for this, or arguably these. So if this were actually its own button, like, you know, she could check people with this, it would help her out. You could just see somebody moving in neutral and bang, forward one, and bang, forward one. Now it doesn't combo, it only does 7% just like this. And it just splat. So it's kind of like a Ghostface. You know how Ghostface 2-2 grab and his forward 4 are like the exact same animation, but forward 4 like doesn't have the first two hits. It would be the same thing. Like, she has back 2-1, but she also just has forward 2 or forward 1. And I think that would help her out in neutral a lot. It would make her, you know, less stubby. She would have something to check people in neutral. Like I said, not a lot. She's a 7% splat, but that's better than nothing. And the second thing I want, you're probably wondering why I switched to sub, but to show you what I mean, it's going to be easier with sub. So I want her to have a lantern, an EX lantern, that works exactly like this EX clone. I want her lantern, her EX lantern, which does not exist. You can't enhance this move at all, to have one lantern that shows up here, one lantern that shows up here, and one lantern that shows up here, all at the same time. So 3 different lanterns, one here, one there, if that makes sense. And I want it to have the same comboable properties as Sub's EX clone. So let me see if I can actually hit this. So, you know, you can actually do the first one, hit them into that, then do that and hit them into the other one, and it would work the same way with lantern. So like, you do some combo like stand 3 EX lantern, and then you do another one, you hit them into that one, and then you do another one and you hit them into the third one. So you would have some cool combo routes. Obviously the second and the third lantern would have to have some pretty decent scaling so that she's not doing like even more damage than she's already doing. But it would open up some new combo routes. Like, you gotta imagine, like, since I'm playing Scorpion here, EX Lantern here, and then maybe you hit them into the next one, and then you hit them into the next one, and then you're doing like 55%. So you might have to have some, you know, pretty rough scaling to balance it out, but that's okay because it's not really about the combos. It's more so about, you know, having space control, because as it is, once you put out this lantern, you can't put out another one, and this thing travels pretty slow. And we're gonna get to another lantern buff that would fix base lantern so that it doesn't really not do its job the way it doesn't really like work right now. So yeah, once this lantern is past their head and you can't place another one, like, it's not doing its job. Once it passes their head, you do not have to worry about it anymore as the opponent. So I think having 3 lanterns on screen at the same time would actually help her out a lot. But for her base lantern, I actually do want some changes for that too. I want her to have 3 separate versions. I want all of these to travel for 5 seconds, because this is active for 5 seconds. So I want all of these to cover different distances in 5 seconds. So the close version would probably make it about there in 5 seconds, which means it has to go pretty slow, but it's basically like right on top of your head the entire time. The mid version makes it about 2/3 to 3/4 way across the screen, so somewhere around there in 5 seconds. And then the far version probably goes a little faster than that, but ends up like maybe 5/4 of the screen, or I don't know, 4/3 of the screen. So a little bit past the end of the screen. But if she has 3 separate versions, it makes it to where base lantern, which is the one that makes it like 2/3 across the screen in 5 seconds, is the one you're going to be using the most often. But you can also like shut down their movement immediately because you have to imagine how fast that lantern is going to be moving if it makes it 5/4 of the screen by the time the 5 seconds is up. Um, and yeah, that would really help her in neutral because this it's clear to me the NRS wanted this to be like a neutral heavy character or a space control character because of the way they designed her. They gave her an air projectile that you can use to detonate lantern, and they gave her this air control move and something that's supposed to be controlling the ground. So they clearly wanted her to be some sort of a space control neutral character, but they didn't do it right because pretty much everyone beats her in neutral. And once you put this move up, you can't put another one. They made sure that they even patched out that bug where you can put like multiple lanterns on screen. Yeah, so she had multiple versions. If they're adamant about making it to where you can only put one lantern on screen, then they should make it to where the lantern controls space better than it does right now. And for a bar, I think you should be able to put more than one lantern up at the same time. Now, one thing is you can't do lantern into EX lantern into a like in a combo. You can only do oh yeah, and another thing. I know you can only do two lanterns right now, but EX lantern has immunity. So what that means is even though it's a third lantern, all of the EX lanterns get counted as if they're the first lantern. So if you're thinking like, oh, well, the third lantern's just gonna drop the combo. Well, no, because it's gonna have like a special property that makes it to where all three of the lanterns combo normally. But yeah, that's really what I want. I want back to one to be its own normal, whatever that is, forward one, forward two. I want this to have 3 separate versions because that would really help out her neutral game and make it to where they really can't jump. Because people can. This lantern actually isn't even that big, so jumping on this lantern is easier than you might think. And then the EX lantern would just shut down air mobility. These 3 lanterns up here don't move. They just stay stationary, but they stay there for 5 seconds. So it's pretty good. And yeah, that's just me thinking out loud. That's kind of what I've been hoping we got. Some sort of lantern buff, EX lantern. Hopefully, I don't know, you agree. If you don't like Li Mei, then you probably don't, but you know what, that's not my problem. So hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, that's going to be it for me. So take care, peace, Sinister out.